What's up, man? What it do? This is your brother Bishop of Bishop's Zone TV. And look, I gotta make a public service announcement real quick. And by the way, happy Father's Day, man. To all the fathers out there, I'm a father, so happy Father's Day to me. This is the day for the fathers. So I don't need some of y'all sisters out here who made bad choices with the men you made babies with to sit up here and say, I'm the mama and the daddy. Happy Father's Day to moi. Happy Father's Day to me. And this is not your day. I just had to throw that out there. Now, this video is not about Father's Day. That was just a joke, just getting it out there. Shouts out to the sisters though. But it is our day. But this is about Juneteenth right now. And as a black Texan, and I'm just using Texan as a reference. I mean, I really don't give a goddamn about those terms. Like, I don't really consider myself no Texan. I mean, I'm born and raised in Texas. My family roots date back over 100 years in Texas, Northeast Texas to be exact. Matter of fact, we have over 100 years worth of family of being in one place, specifically in Marshall, East Texas. So, but I'm just using it for reference. Like I said, me personally, I identify as an Americanized African. We'll have another show about that. But I'm just straight up African, Americanized African. And yes, to you FBA folks out there, because I'm trying to refrain from cussing so much, FBA. I'll be considered FBA. My family been here since the 1800s, probably even 1700s, you know. So this is about Juneteenth, but I'm speaking from a black Texan perspective, and I feel like I'm speaking for a lot of black Texans because I've heard these conversations over the years and heard them even louder now that Juneteenth is recognized as a national holiday. And I just got off a channel not too long ago, earlier today. Shouts out to Pan Africa Strikes Back, man. Shouts out to Brandon. You know, ain't nothing but love. You know, hey, we're not gonna agree all the time. But you know, he made a episode about Juneteenth, and Juneteenth being a minstrel show. And I suggest y'all check it out too, so you can get the full context of that conversation. But I felt like some people are getting the wrong impression about Juneteenth because it's become a national holiday now. And when you got, you know, Joe Biden making it a national holiday, and now everybody's talking about it, CNN, MSNBC, Fox. People get lost in the sauce, y'all. Like they're getting lost in the sauce. And from somebody who has celebrated and observed Juneteenth since I was a child, since the 90s, I think I have to correct some misinformation about Juneteenth, because a lot of people still don't know what Juneteenth is about. And let's just say this, first and foremost. Juneteenth is not a celebration necessarily where, you know, we celebrate the fact that white folks finally let us free. They finally gave us our freedom. Woo-wee! White folks show good to us now. We not think it's not necessarily about white folks. It ain't really about white people, period. See, in Texas, when we celebrate Juneteenth, because you have to understand, this is a Texas thing. We've been celebrating Juneteenth since the 1800s. Since the 1800s. And the first ever celebration of Juneteenth was in large part due to the reason that, look, prior to our freedom, a lot of families were split up. A lot of families were torn apart because of slavery, how slavery worked. So when we were granted our freedom 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, a lot of families were reuniting with each other. And in that reuniting with each other throughout the state, people started celebrating. People started getting together, cooking, because black people cook, and that's an African thing to cook when you have a bunch of family around you. You start to praise and worship. Y'all don't realize a lot of people were praising and worshiping their ancestors during these first celebrations of Juneteenth in Texas. We were celebrating our ancestors. We were praising and worshiping our ancestors and then deities, whether you be Christian, Muslim. I know a lot of times probably it was Christianity, but trust and believe, we were commemorating and celebrating our ancestors. And then people dance, because guess what? Dancing is big in our culture. Dancing is an African thing. We dance in African culture. We eat in African culture. When large families get together, that's what we do. So I don't see how celebrating family, celebrating extended family, which means the broader black family, and worshiping and praising our ancestors, and eating in the process, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But see, again, a lot of y'all are getting caught up in the sauce. You're getting lost in the sauce. Y'all are looking at the fact that Biden made this a national holiday. Y'all are looking at the fact that corporations are now capitalizing off of Juneteenth and letting that really deter y'all from Juneteenth. Also, Juneteenth was an event that allowed black people to showcase their businesses. It was an event where black people networked with each other and developed institutions. Let me give you a perfect example. One of the first ever celebrations of Juneteenth happened in Houston, Texas. And it happened directly in 3rd Ward. An individual by the name of Jack Yates, he's one of the most known black Texans, and I'm using Texas as a reference again, but he's one of the most famous black Texans throughout Texas black history. Jack Yates, along with other influential individuals at that time, black individuals, were able to purchase a plot of land in 3rd Ward, what we know now today is 3rd Ward. And that park was Emancipation Park. And they held the very first Juneteenth celebration in Emancipation Park. We're talking over 150 years now, or 850 years. And at that celebration, black people were able to build institutions off that. And Juneteenth started spreading throughout the state. And because of Juneteenth was able to produce people who thought or who had a self-determination spirit about themselves. Again, people use that time to network, use that time to reunite with their family, use that time to celebrate. You're using that time for whatever reason. You use it. And you're using that time amongst a bunch of other black people. In a setting that, oftentimes you were not allowed to congregate like that. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all get that prior to Juneteenth, black people could not congregate on that level because we were enslaved? Black people could not congregate and celebrate amongst the masses of black faces because we were under the oppression of slavery. Do y'all not realize that? So black folks, use that to create tangibles. They use that to help create freedmen towns. Freedmen towns, Texas has some of the most freedmen towns, if not the most freedmen towns in the entire United States. That's partially, not solely, but partially because of Juneteenth. Because Juneteenth allowed these people to gather amongst each other and then network on certain ideas. Network about, hey, I got this freedom town in such and such, Texas, outside of Austin. Oh, really? I didn't know about that. Let me get hip to that. Let me go to this place and, possibly raise my family in that place and build businesses for self. Because Texas had a lot of people, just like anywhere else in America, after slavery, during the Reconstruction era, where people started to do for self. Juneteenth is a celebration that was in large part due to doing for self. Somewhere down the line, which is pretty normal, that got lost. When I say that, I mean the meaning of Juneteenth started to lose its significance with black people, and a lot of people started to bastardize it. Even in Texas, native Texans would soon or would later bastardize Juneteenth. You know, I can remember growing up in the 90s, going to Juneteenth celebrations and hearing stories about our history beyond slavery. See, this is what a lot of people don't realize. And I'm gonna get to some of these xenophobes later and how they're weaponizing Juneteenth to target black immigrants. But a lot of times, you know, you would have speakers come to Juneteenth who would speak, who would give poetry, build with brothers and sisters, instill a lot of pride in brothers and sisters. And oftentimes you had people come that, look, they weren't just focused on our history in America, they were focused on our history in Africa. Juneteenth is one of the most pan-African things you can really do in this country, honestly, if you utilize Juneteenth the right way. Because see, it's an event, so people can utilize Juneteenth however they see fit to. So some people would have car shows during Juneteenth. Some people would do some ratchet shit during Juneteenth. Then others would do righteous things during Juneteenth. A lot of businesses were created because of Juneteenth. People would set up vendors during Juneteenth, in Juneteenth, and make money. Because one thing about Juneteenth is this: in Texas, a lot of black folks are gonna spend money with other black people during Juneteenth. How is that a bad thing? This is not a holiday that the white man gave us. You gotta understand, Texas, we talking Texas, especially during the 1800s and early 1900s. White folks did not want us to be celebrating Juneteenth, and we did it in defiance of white people. We did it in the faces of white folks. You know what kind of resilience that takes? You know how tough you gotta be during that time to start celebrating your blackness. But see, y'all allow the commercialism of Juneteenth to get in the way of logic. Juneteenth is a good thing, despite the commercialism of it now. So we fast forward to today, and Juneteenth, of course, has gained more popularity. It gained a lot of popularity when Blackish did an episode on Juneteenth. Now, you have to understand that a lot of Texans during the Great Migration migrated to other places like California. They migrated to Milwaukee, migrated to Denver, and they took Juneteenth with them. And some of those states recognized and celebrated Juneteenth earlier than other states. You know? And so some people along the way started to lose the meaning even more of Juneteenth. Some people started taking Texas out of the history of Juneteenth. It just focused solely on the fact that all black people were finally freed from slavery. But again, you have to realize that this is a Texas thing. And this, I mean, everybody. I mean, I'm not want to say people can't do this, that, third, but you have to understand that a lot of people in Texas now feel as though like it's losing its meaning. Once it left the borders of Texas, it lost its meaning. And when I see people diminish Juneteenth, when I see people come up with all these theories of how the white man gave us this, that, and third to distract us from reparations or blah, 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 I'm like, y'all just don't understand. Y'all just don't get Juneteenth. And I'm not surprised, because I know a lot of people who migrated to Texas, who moved to Texas, and they would see black people in Texas celebrating during Juneteenth, and they would always kind of like, why y'all celebrating y'all freedom? Why y'all celebrating the fact that the white man, we are not celebrating that shit. Do y'all not realize that? Do y'all gotta get that through y'all goddamn brain? We are not celebrating the fact that white people, quote unquote, gave us freedom. There's a fly right there. You know, we know. Some people might use it for that, but I guarantee you the large percentage does not. You know, and this leads me to the xenophobes, because I saw a post on Afro Think Tank. Shout out to Afro Think Tank. I saw one on his page where some people call a sister Mouthy Megan or whatever. They think she's a white woman behind, white woman using blackface behind the screen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's a black woman, honestly. But she's, FBA ADOS, and she went in on this event, this Juneteenth event that was going on in Brooklyn, New York, where, some continental Africans said, look, come on through to Blue Nile or whatever club it was at, lounge it was at, and they had, look, we'll have Jollof and rice in the Juneteenth celebration. And she got upset because she went off on black immigrants and Caribbean people for participating in Juneteenth. And I've seen other FBA people go at black immigrants for participating in Juneteenth. And I'm here to tell y'all to shut the hell up. Shut y'all musty asses up. Y'all don't speak for us. You're not speaking for black Texans. How about that? Let me be petty. If y'all want to exclude black immigrants for participating in Juneteenth, then as on behalf of a lot of black Texans, we're going to exclude y'all from participating in Juneteenth because y'all ruined it for everybody else. Throughout all the years of us celebrating Juneteenth, I'm talking about from the 90s, because I was a kid in the 90s, early 2000s, and to now, I can't recall ever experiencing people prohibiting xenophobic attitudes towards Africans. We acknowledge the fact that we are African. A lot of people do during Juneteenth. A lot of people get upset when you use the red, black, and green. You know how many times I've seen red, black, and green during Juneteenth events in Texas? Y'all need to come down here. Come down here to the original celebration, to the original Juneteenth homeland. So y'all can see how people celebrate Juneteenth. It's not about how y'all celebrate. Y'all getting that construed. Y'all getting that mixed up. So when this woman, who I can clearly tell is not from Texas, started going off on this Nigerian sister, well, I don't know if it's Nigerian sister, but she just started going off about Nigerian people and black immigrants in general. I'm like, come down to 3rd Ward. Go down to Emancipation Park and see how many continental Africans and Caribbean people you'll see at Juneteenth, and nobody shits on them. Nobody tells them you can't come to this event. We not tripping off that. Even if that, and I know there's some black Texans who probably consider themselves FBA who talking that shit, but y'all know deep down inside you ain't never checked no continental African or no Caribbean when they were in 3rd Ward or any other community in Texas. You think I'm lying? You think I'm bullshitting? Man, please. Go to 3rd Ward right now and go to that parking lot across the street from Emancipation Park. What is that? Where the El Dorado Ballroom is located at, right there in 3rd Ward, and tell me if you're going to go up to a continental African, shouts out to the brother DJ Elevated from Ghana, who do a lot of work in 3rd Ward, do a lot of work in Houston, or matter of fact, go to the Shape Center in 3rd Ward. Go to the Shape Center, where they got the red, black, and green right there. And they always hosting events during Juneteenth. And that's a Pan-African, pro-black center. You gonna tell me that you gonna shit on Bobby Deloy? I know my shit. You shitting on Bobby Deloy in H-Town in Houston? All the stuff that he's done for black people? And this is a brother, this is one of our community leaders who is a Pan-Africanist. Right there on the side of the wall. There's a mural of Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. There's a Marcus Garvey garden in 3rd Ward. And you gonna sit there and tell me it ain't about Africa? And we talking about 3rd Ward, who has celebrated Juneteenth longer than anybody in this country, with the exception of maybe Galveston? See, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Come to the soil. Come down here. I'll invite you. Nah, I probably won't. I ain't got time for all that. I ain't got time for all that. But I'll let you know some places to go. So stop that, man. Juneteenth is about celebrating and honoring your ancestors, honoring your people, honoring the now. It's about building. It's about worshiping. It's about dancing. It's about having a good time. It's a lot of different things. It's not just one particular thing. It's not just about barbecue and praising. Oh, Lord, thank you, white man. Thank you. It's not about that, y'all. You got a lot of people talking about Juneteenth who are not even from Texas. And then they get their information from these generic ass sites who can't go into detail about Juneteenth instead of actually coming to Juneteenth, coming to Texas and going to a Juneteenth celebration. Because I would advise you to go come down here first, so therefore you can get a better understanding. Go to Galveston, go to Houston, go to Dallas, go to East Texas, go to Austin, just anywhere, Mahia, Texas. Wake up and understand what it is that you're talking about. That's all I got. Y'all know to like and subscribe. You know, I hope I didn't come off too harsh. I'm just trying to build dialogue. I'm trying to build conversations with people. You know, so let me know what's up, man. Like and subscribe. I think I said that before. Until next time, holla. Also, one thing I wanted to add, will y'all please stop saying we the only one that celebrate? We the only one to celebrate. Don't you know there's plenty of people all across the globe that celebrate their independence from oppression? Do y'all realize that? Do y'all realize India celebrates their freedom from oppression from the British? Israel, the Philippines, Ghana, France, America? How come y'all don't say shit about America when they celebrate July 4th? And their freedom, their so-called freedom against British rule, or from British rule. Why y'all don't say nothing about that? Why y'all always gotta say some shit about black people? There's plenty of people all across this planet that has some form of celebration due to their independence from their oppressor. We are not the only people. I just had to throw that in there because everybody got a case of the weeds. Everybody French now. It's we. God damn. Man.